We've learned lessons from those early mistakes where, for example, we got the doubling time wrong. Certainly, SPI-M, which is the modelling subgroup of SAGE, they've moved to using a different method of averaging across their models, sort of consensus view. So when you see the R value reported each week, for example, there's a range given, and we're getting used to seeing these ranges often expressing confidence intervals, so how uncertain we are. But actually, the ranges that are given around R and the rates of growth express not just uncertainty, but also the fact that different models are being used to feed into those estimates. So they're trying to come up with one consensus view, estimating a value of the growth based not just on cases, but also on hospitalizations and also on deaths. So we have learned lessons through the real-time modelling that we've done, and we are using those lessons to make our reporting and our modelling going forward more accurate. Schools, we know, are really important. If you keep schools open, then that means that R stays higher than it otherwise would do if schools were closed. Of course, there are good arguments for keeping schools open in terms of reducing inequality, in terms of working parents having to take time off. The same thing is true looking at what happens for Christmas. There are trade-offs to be made between each of these things. If, for example, we want to have a relatively normal Christmas, so to speak, as we've been hearing about on the news, SAGE modelling is estimating that every day that we have of Christmas could cost us 5 days of lockdown after Christmas, and that's a judgment call that has to be made. And so in terms of whether we'll have a normal Christmas or other events back to normal, that's a decision which the government has to make, and really the modelers can only really advise on that, and the government has to decide. But it's a really difficult decision to make. The other thing to say is that when we have a day of normality or 5 days of normality as is being proposed for Christmas, cases will increase, which will lead to more hospitalizations and more deaths.